Rockstars, Eric Andreas, YourGuitarSage here. Today we're going to be discussing which is better, the Gibson Les Paul or the Fender Stratocaster, and which one is better for you. All right, let's talk about it. So today, the two guitars that we're going to be looking at are my Gibson Les Paul R8. So this is a reissue of a 1958. It's meticulously detailed to a 1958, which is one of the classic years. 58, 59, even 60. Those guitars are fetching easily upwards of 300,000. This one was not 300,000. This is a reissue, but a fabulous guitar nonetheless. And the other guitar that we're going to be looking at is my Fender Strat. This is a 65 Strat, and this is an original, so this is not a reissue. But we're going to be looking at both of them. We're going to be talking about all the bits and pieces about them, and to discover which is the better guitar, which is the best guitar, which is the best guitar for you. Okay, so since I have it in my hand, let's go ahead and we'll start with the Strat. And so let's talk about some basics. You can see just off the bat, if you're looking at the two, there's obviously a difference in the way the bodies look. And you can see on the Les Paul here, or on the Strat, we've got two horns, one here and one here. And on the Les Paul, we only have one. And we've got that kind of hump at the top there with the toggle switch, okay? Now, the main difference between a Strat and a Les Paul is the scale length. So a lot of people believe that the sound is really coming from the pickup, that's the difference in a Les Paul and a Strat, is the pickup. And although there's some truth to that, most experts will agree that the majority of the sound is coming from the scale length. Okay, what I mean by where the sound's coming from, its tone, like what makes it distinct sounding. So the scale length on a Strat is going to be 25.5 inches. Okay, 25.5 inches, and that's from the bridge to the nut. On a Les Paul, it's 24.75. Okay, that's a difference of 0.75 inches. Okay, so about 1 fret almost, okay? Now, you may say to yourself, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, it has a lot to do with the sound, and here's why. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's take a string, okay? Let's take an E string, and let's make it 1 foot long, okay? And then next to it, let's make one that's 10 foot long, okay? And let's have the same tension on both of them, okay? What's going to happen if I pluck that higher one, or the smaller one? It's going to be higher in pitch. The longer one's going to be lower in pitch, because in physics, the smaller a body is, the higher pitch the sound it can produce. Okay, that's why whales have a deep bellow like that, and a bird will be able to tweet really high. I'm not going to try to do a very high tweet. Okay, but you get the idea. So the bigger a body is, the deeper the sound is. The smaller a body is, the higher the sound is. Okay, now with that being said, because of that, we have to tune the guitar up. We've got to tune it to standard pitch, right? And so if we're A-Bing both guitars and they're both tuned to standard pitch, the scale length of the guitar that's longer, being the Strat, okay, 25.5, then what's going to happen is I'm going to actually have to turn these knobs to tune it up, meaning that the strings are actually going to have higher tension on them, because if it's a longer body, a bigger body, it has to be tightened up more. Okay, so that's why we're getting that sound. If that doesn't make sense to you, then just think about it here when we're done. I won't spend too much time deliberating over that right now. So the same thing with the Les Paul in the opposite way. Since that's 24.75, then you have a shorter scale length, meaning your strings can be looser. Well, what does that mean? Well, number one, it's going to have a different sound. Okay, it also means you're going to be able to bend easier on it. So bending the same whole note is going to feel different on the Strat than it will on the than on the Les Paul. Okay, it'll be easier on the Les Paul. So that's number one, the scale length. Number two, here the cutaways. So on the Les Paul, we've got this kind of hump that comes out here, so you can't put your hand there if you wanted to play further up the neck. So when it comes to playing further up the neck, the Les Paul can be a little bit clunky, whereas the Strat, you can reach more up here, okay? Just automatically because of the horns, okay? Now, on the Strat, you have single coil pickups, okay? And single coil pickups produce a different sound. They produce more of a hollow sound. And in the end here, at the end of this video, I'll do some playing examples for you so where you can hear both. But single coil pickups produce a more, typically a less overdriven sound. And it's a little bit cleaner sounding, and that's why this guitar is used for so many different genres, whereas Les Pauls oftentimes are used for more like rock and that sort of thing. Although they can be used for different genres as well, but because of the pickup configuration, we typically will get more subtle tones from this Strat. Okay, now the Strat, we have 3 pickups, and we've got typically a 5-way selector. On these old 65s, it's only a 3-way selector, and you've got to kind of get it in between the two to get that 4th and 2nd position. You've got 1 volume, 2 tones. So the volume is just overall for the whole instrument, whatever pickup selection you do. And then same thing with the tone knobs. They'll follow whatever 2 pickups that you're picking. You know, you've got your standard pick guard. You have a tremolo system. So you've got springs in the back that hold that tremolo system in place, and because of that, you're also going to have a little bit of a different sound. It's going to resonate differently than, say, a Les Paul that has the stop tailpiece. There's no springs or anything like that in there. Okay. As far as tuners, you know, really we're talking about the basics. Yes, they're going to be a little bit different, but it's nothing to write home about. Let's see if is there anything that I've forgotten. You know, because of the Strat and the way that it's set up, you know, we mentioned that bending is going to be a little bit more difficult, but because of the higher tension, we're also going to have typically a brighter, more cutting tone. Okay, so if you're looking for something that cuts through more, the Strat is great for that, whereas the Les Paul is a little bit of a warmer tone. Okay. Okay. Oh, bolt-on neck. We've got a bolt-on neck on the Strat, but not on the Gibson Les Paul. It's a glued-on neck. All right, so that is that's pretty much. Let me see. Let me check my notes out and make sure there's nothing else. I think that's pretty much it in regards to the Strat. Okay, so you know, used for blues, used for rock, used for jazz. It's really used for all different genres. Probably one of the most used guitars next to probably the Telecaster. You won't see a lot of punk bands using a Strat. Could be done, but you just don't see it a lot. So, very versatile guitar and one of my favorites. All right, let's take a look at the Les Paul. All right, so let's take a look at the Gibson Les Paul. This again is an R8, so it's a reissue of a 1958, and it's spec'd out tremendously just like one. So let's talk about the basic differences. We said that the scale length from nut to bridge is going to be 24.75, meaning strings can be looser, so it's easier to bend, but it's going to have a warmer tone to it. Okay, we've got the stop tailpiece, okay, which is also going to produce just a slightly different sound. You don't have the reverberation of the springs in the back of the guitar like you do on the Strat. Now, the body on a Les Paul is mahogany, typically mahogany, with a carved maple top. So you can see that on some Les Pauls, you'll have a top that rises up a little bit, and that's because they carve that out. And it's just really quite beautiful, but it also, in its playability, it just feels different than just a flat guitar on the top. Strats, Fender Strats, are usually made of ash, and so the woods are going to resonate slightly differently. Now, on the Strat, we've got single coil pickups. On most Les Pauls, you have humbuckers, what are known as PAFs, or patent applied for. And but you might have P90s in them, like on my special. But on this particular Les Paul, there's humbuckers, and that's usually the sound that you're hearing when you're hearing that nice rock, that nice heavy rock tone. Okay. Tuners, nothing really to write home about. Usually the neck, though, on a Les Paul is typically going to be thicker. So if you like a nice baseball bat type neck, then Les Pauls are great. If you're looking for a thinner tapered neck, then Strats are typically going to be your guitar of choice, at least as far as the neck. So it typically works better with smaller hands. Now I know if you're new to guitar and you just heard that and you're having difficulty playing guitar, you're like, that's it, that's the guitar I need, I got to get that or I won't be able to play. He said it's good for smaller hands. Yes, it's good for smaller hands, but try one first, and it's not going to be so overwhelming that you're like, oh my gosh, I can play now. Chances are it won't be, so I'd hate for you to go run out and get a guitar just because I said that. So check out a Strat. If it feels better for you, great, but they do have thinner necks. Okay, let's see, what else did we have on this? Oh yeah, we've got a 3-way toggle switch. So in this case here, we've got the bridge pickup, and we've got the neck pickup, and we can choose either, or we can go right in the middle there and have both of them. Now what's also a little bit different about the Les Paul than the Strat is that you have 2 volume knobs, so you could bring one up and the other one down, or just the other one a little bit, so you can really create some different tonal variations with that. You also have 2 tone knobs, so for each pickup you've got a tone knob, which is great. So between that and the ability to be able to switch between these different pickups, you've got a myriad of different variations that you can get from the Les Paul. And you'd be quite surprised at just what cutting the volume back does, especially with Les Paul. Just cutting that volume back a little bit will give you, a slightly thinner tone, but you can really work that volume knob and come up with a myriad of different overdrives. The Strat doesn't work as well that way. When you turn it back, it tends to darken it. There's some different bits, some mods and what have you that you can do to guitars to make them not do that as much. But just, the built-in circuitry of a Strat will do that, whereas the Les Paul, not so much. When you back it off, it still has some of those higher ends that you're hearing that make it sound like the sound that you're going for. Looking to see here if there's anything else. Let's talk about the weight. So the weight of a Les Paul is typically going to be, you've probably heard this a lot, the Les Pauls are super heavy. More heavy, I believe, in the 70s. But you can let me know if I'm wrong about that or not, because that's kind of a guess, because I've played heavier Les Pauls, and they were typically ones that were in the 70s. This one's not so bad, but Les Pauls, as a rule, are going to be heavier guitars than Strats. There's just a thicker slab of wood, mahogany with the maple carved top. Okay. Because of the scale length, they're a little bit warmer. You've got the fixed bridge. So this guitar is used a lot for rock, hard rock. It can be used metal, blues. Some jazzers use it even. So it really is quite diverse. You can use it in just about all. You don't see it a lot in, like, I'll call it alternative music. You don't see it a lot in that for whatever reason. More Strats and that sort of thing. But the tone on it is going to be a singing type of tone, great for soloing, that sort of thing. And in fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you about that. I'll be playing through both of these, and you're going to hear them, okay? My friends, by the way, before we do that, if you like this video, please share with your friends, all right? Okay, let's get to listening to these, all right? All right, let's give this Les Paul a test run. right, so you can hear just from that right now that this thing screams, right? I have this running through an OCD, a full-tone OCD, and I also was pushing that OCD pedal with a tube screamer, okay? And what that tube screamer does is basically just drives that pedal a bit more, okay? So, now, let's listen to some different configurations here. Now, this is just the OCD pedal. It's got, and this is on 10, so volume is on 10. This is just the bridge pickup. So if I cut this back a bit, we're way back. So you can hear just by that volume there, it's almost like I've got several different overdrive pedals. Now, if I switch this up to the neck pickup, I get that real nice, what we call woman tone. Add a little bit of tube screamer to that. So, quite diverse. Obviously, you've got your tone there that we hadn't messed with, but just you can make everything a bit darker. So that's that drive that so many folks are looking for when they're picking out a Les Paul. They want that drive. They want that nice woman tone where they can really sing those solos over the top. All right, let's check out the Strat. All right, let's take a look at this Strat. This is a 65 Strat that I bought from Gruen a couple years ago, and I'm absolutely in love with it, and the tone from it is just fabulous. Love it. And so let's take a little listen. We'll run it through its paces and see which one you like the best. So you can hear there's some obvious differences there, right? God, I don't even know what to say. A buttery sound, right? Let's take off that delay. Used to that Hendrixy sound, you know. so you get that nice kind of just, I just love the sound of this thing. So let's talk about it. Right now I have this on, we're going to call it position 4 because this is the old school switcher which only has 3 positions. The newer Strats have a 5-way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you're going across here, but these old schools have 3, and so to find the in-between spot we have 2 pickups, for instance. This is on 5 right now. If I wanted 5 and 3, I'd put it on 4. Since it's not there, you just kind of get it to where it sounds like it's on 4. Right there, little switch up. You get that kind of quacky type sound. Also in the 5 position, you also have a real, what they call a quack. Now, 1 volume, 2 tones, so you can do all sorts of fun stuff with it, but the volume is going to affect the overall bit, and the tone is going to affect whatever 2 pickups that you pick. Now, on my Strat, I keep them wide open. I do not like that darker sound. To me, it has somewhat of a dark quality anyhow. At least this particular one does. But I keep them on 10. I keep those tones on 10. So, my friends, the question that we asked, which one is the better guitar? The Les Paul or the Strat? And I'm going to say it depends. It really depends on what you're trying to do. What kind of music are you trying to play? What feels best to you? What sounds best? And what's your price point? As I cover in the first 2 videos of my free course that you can find below at YourGuitarSage.com/30, I talk about how to pick out the best guitar for you, okay? There's a best guitar for you. You know, there's not a best guitar per se, but there is a best guitar for you. And in a nutshell, that's the feel, that's the sound, and what's your budget. Okay, but I go over those in detail and what things to look out for in that course. So if you're looking for a guitar, and even if you're not looking for a guitar, if you're looking to play guitar, get that free course or visit me here in Nashville. It'll take us about 30 weeks to go through all that, and it costs about $1,000. Or you can click on the link and get it for free, my friends, right? What a deal. Hey, let me know how I can help you out. This is my job, and I love it. It's fantastic, it's fun, and I love teaching people how to play guitar. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, obviously, and a bunch of other places, Snapchat and all those other places. So please let me know how I can help you. Sign up with me there. If you like this video, please share it. Right now, my friends, share it. If you got something from this video, hit subscribe. If there's anything that I can do to help you, please leave your comments below. Let me know, which one do you like better? You like the Strat, or do you like the Les Paul better? Let me know. And my friends, as always, you know what I say, be kind to all beings. Don't trust the man, and play your guitar. See ya.